can put.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good day. Thank you for joining us again this morning or this day. And we're happy to have you here. I see the chat buzzing with regards to how the week has been. Thank you for engaging and thank you for sharing how we have all been. So for today's session, we've been looking at today's session of soft skills in the cohort 6 of our tech deep dive training. Today, 14th June. For the past weeks, we've been looking at problem solving and eyes for details, communication and networking. Last week, we discussed emotional intelligence and customer centric. And today, we are discussing another very important topic, yet very important, leadership and teamwork. So, this teamwork is very crucial at this point, especially as we have started our group projects and as we, in every organization at some point, we have to work with teams. We wouldn't work alone in an organization, whether as a CEO, whether as a self-employed person, or whether as a um, employee or employer, however it is, would have to work with people. And taking us on that journey is our global president. She's also a Forbes Council member. I would like to welcome her to the grand stage. She has taken us in Textiles on the reign of leadership, and we thank her for all that she does in Textiles. So now I'm calling up on stage Nihinlola Adeyemi. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Omolara. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Thumbs up if you can hear me, please. Anyone hear me? Oh, great. Fantastic. Thank you so much. I know it's a cold weather. For those of you that are in Lagos, Nigeria, or some part of Nigeria. So please grab a cup of coffee or a cup of tea while my system is coming up, the presentation is coming up. Oh, it's in Port Harcourt. Great. I hope it's cold in Port Harcourt as well. It's a beautiful weather here. And those of you in Ireland, those of you in North America, Kenya, East Africa, West Africa, I'm sure North Africa, all over Europe, we're good. We're glad to have you here. So today we'll be looking at teamwork and leadership and teamwork. I mean, we're going to finish early today because I want us to ask questions. I realize that we've not had, we've not been giving people enough time to to ask questions because of the next class that starts at about um exactly an hour from now. So we're going to do more of asking of questions today. And you agree with me that we've talked about, I've mentioned team spirit and working together, projects and all of that from the beginning of this series. And so, but today I'm going to concentrate more on leadership and bring in infused team spirits, teamwork rather, as we go along. So, having said that, these are the areas we're going to look at quickly, and we're going to have a wonderful discussion around the the topics here. We're going to look at the introduction, qualities of a good leader, the types of leadership. I mean, we're not going to discuss all the types of leadership, but the significant or most popular leadership styles is what we will look at today. And we'll look at challenges that leaders face. Leaders also face challenges. We'll look at quality of effective leadership. And why are we even looking at leadership in the first place? Why is it important? Why is it relevant? Why should we have a leader? Many leaders have disappointed us. So why do we have to, waste our time to look at leadership? All of that we're going to discuss. Leadership styles, key qualities of a great leader, and you're wondering, oh, there's key quality of an effective leader. Here we are with key quality of a great leader. You can be effective and you're not great, and you can be great and not effective. So we look at that, and also look at the importance of effective leadership. We look at be the leader you like to follow, right? If you're in the leadership role, would you like to follow yourself if you're a subordinate? We'll have that discussion. And again, we'll look at the challenges in leadership and how to develop leadership skills. So having said that, um, if you can see my presentation, can we have a thumbs up, please? I just want to be sure. Clear, if it's excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, just to show that some people are not sleeping and because of the cold weather. Thank you. So who is a leader, or what is leadership basically? You remember last week when we were talking about projects and how, when you build a team, you have to give roles and responsibilities, right? And I also mentioned having a leader in your team, for this project. And a leader basically is someone that inspires others, someone that, people can follow, someone that can influence others positively. So we have a project that you're working on for this court, right? You have someone that is there to say, look, the goal of this project is for us to build XYZ solution, right? And the leader is there to direct the team members to ensure that that solution is, they're able to build that solution according to the specification. Now, if there's no leader, you realize that the UX UI person, the back end person, the front end person, the security guy in the team, would just be doing their own thing. And you find out that most times you don't meet up with your project timeline because there's no one directing that project, or there's no one directing that team, or there's no one directing your department, assuming, it's a workplace. So you need someone that can, make sure that everybody is in sync. Everybody understands the goal. The reason why you're in that department. You have your own departmental goals that aligns with the organizational goal, because a leader cannot, come up with his own goal. It has to align with, either the structure of the organization or the structure of the project, or whatever you are, even if it's your personal life. You can't have a leader in a home and the subordinates are doing something different, or there's no goal, there's no leader in that home. So it has to be someone that can put everybody together, influence them, and they can see as someone that can actually take them to the promised land, so to speak. So leadership is not all about authority. If you recall, I think when we first started, and the coordinator was introducing us, right? I said, oh, I'm a servant leader, and I love to call myself a servant leader, because as a leader, if you do not learn to serve, or if you do not have that servant ability, or servanthood, if there's a word like that, right? You're not able to lead properly. And I can tell you for free that you cannot lead if you do not know how to serve, or if you cannot serve others, because you won't, you're not in their shoes. You don't understand what they're going through. So a leader is not there to just give out instructions, but a leader is there to ensure that everyone is being carried along, everyone understands the vision of the project or the organization, everyone is responsible to whatever task that is assigned to them. Not like you come in and you say, oh, LA, do this. Precious, this is your job. Ola, this is what you're supposed to do. And Ijoma, make sure that this is delivered, and you go to bed. No, a leader is supposed to lead by example, right? Not just to dish out the instruction and go to sleep. Leadership is inspiring, is guiding others, is ensuring that while you're guiding others, they see they see your impact in their life. They see that you can also, you're not just the leader that is guiding them, but a leader that understands the goal, a leader that, is there to support them and help them, when they have challenges, right? So that's basically what leadership is all about. So for those of you that are yet to pick your roles and responsibility in your various projects, look at those qualities in whoever you want to pick. Don't just pick the person, out of emotion to say, oh, I like this person. Oh, this guy looks very handsome. He should be a leader. Person should have, empathy and have some of these qualities that we're going to discuss today. So, what are the qualities? The person has to be respectful. If you are a leader and you don't respect your team members, right, you're just leading yourself. Respect is mutual, respect is reciprocal. If you don't respect me as your team member, you shouldn't expect respect for me as a leader. So, a leader should be someone that talks to people with respect, have conversation or treat people with respect, right? And a leader has to be responsible. If if assuming I'm a leader of one of the projects now, and I'd say, you know what, you guys, let's meet at 6 o'clock or 6 p.m. West African time, and I'm logging in at 6:30 or 7 o'clock. That shows I'm not responsible. Or I probably just send a link and I don't show up, and I expect someone to call me and give me an update of how the meeting was, and I probably didn't even apologize to my team members to say, oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't make it and all of that. So you have to show that you're responsible. That's the only way that people can trust you and believe in you. And you have to be able to listen to people. You should do leaders listen more and they talk less, because you should be able to understand, every word that your team member is saying to you, take it in and think about it before you even make that decision or make that conclusion, right? And a leader should be honest. If I say, we're having the meeting at 3 p.m., it should be 3 p.m. Not like, or if I say, don't worry, we're going to do this together, or I'm sending vouchers for us to or I'm using my credit card for us to buy what for, a solution for, a tool rather, for the project we're working on, then I should make that happen, right? So a leader should have that trait of someone that is honest, someone that's, a yes is a yes and a no is a no. So where you don't, there's some leaders that when they say yes, you have to, or they tell you good morning, you have to go out to go and check to say, is it actually morning or afternoon? Because you don't trust them, they don't keep to their words. And the leader has to be positive. I know my colleagues at Textilers, they probably know me for that. That I'm positive and I dream big. I'm this kind of person that I just look at it and like, why can't we do it? Why can't we fly? Why can't we do this? Why can't we, aspire to, you have to be very positive, and that's the only way you can carry people along and people can believe in you, because they just look at, you can imagine having a leader that's very positive, and you have a particular project you need to work on, and that this project, oh my God, we can't even see the middle, talk less of seeing the end of the project. That are we going to make it happen before the deadline? But if you have a positive leader, or leader that has so much positivity around her, that has a positive energy, you'll be able to achieve that. And of course, you have to be helpful. You don't just be a leader that will just sit back and dish out instructions and do not, support your team members. Now, so we're going to look at the types of leadership that we have. And of course, you don't expect all leaders to have all these traits or all leaders to be the same. There are some leaders that they lead by example. They give you a task and they are doing it. They are not, they are hands-on leaders. I'm sure you have them at work that they would give you a job. They know the job. They can do the job, you know. And when you see them doing it, I mean, who are you to now sit back and say, "Oh, I want to relax," right? And there are some, all they do is encourage. You know, I know I'm in that. I have more of that in me. You know, encourage the team members to say, "Look, you can do it. How you doing? Is everybody okay? I'm just checking on you today. How's the project going? Are you having challenges? Where do you want me to help?" You know, it just gives you that sense of, oh, this leader cares so much about me, right? And there are some that they are problem solvers. If there are issues, rather than say, oh, why didn't you fix this issue, they just jump to it and fix the issue and they move on. If you recall, I think like 2 weeks ago, someone was giving an example. Rather, she asked a question that how can she handle team members that, you know, you give them tasks to do, they don't do it. That most times she just, you know, we just go ahead and just do the tax just to ensure that, you know, her department delivers on the project. That's a problem solver. That's a problem solving leadership style that she has. So these are the various type of leaders that we have, and you need to be able to understand your leader. You need to be able to identify who your leader is so that you can work seamlessly with your leader. I call in those days my boss used to tell me that, look, you can't fight your boss. You have to learn to manage your boss. And you're like, excuse me, this person said this to me. This person was mean to me, you know. And the maybe the overall divisional head will tell you, sorry, you don't expect me to beat your team lead for you. So you have to go back and learn to manage your boss. So if you have been able to identify the kind of leader that you have, then you'll be able to manage your leader effectively. And leaders also face challenges. You know, they're first human before they're leaders, right? They face tough decisions. I remember, you know, I used to work in the financial space. There are times when they need to lay off and they'll say, oh, we're laying off some staff. We need two from your department, two from, you know, various departments like that. And you sit back and like, where do I start from? Who can I, you know, and you love everybody working with you. But unfortunately, you have to make that decision because you can't go back to management meeting and say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't release any of my staff. Obviously, you'll be the one to go. You know, even as much as they don't want you to go, they just feel you're not capable to be a leader. So they make tough decisions that, you know, sometimes they don't want to, but they have to. And, you know, again, criticism comes. If you recall the first um series that we did, you know, someone I mentioned it the second time that someone said, oh, this speaker was busy putting Nigeria under the bus, you know, but very great presentation. That's criticism. And you remember that I also mentioned in one of the series that, look, always be open to feedback. If you do not like to have feedback, then you're not a good leader, because even as an individual, feedback just helps you to improve, you know. So anywhere you go to, anything you do as a team member, as a leader, always ask for feedback. Don't be ashamed to ask your team members for feedback. Do a survey, you know, anonymous survey, and tell them to rate you. Do a 360 appraisal, you know, to so that you can know the kind of leader you are and how you can improve on your leadership skills, right? And they also have challenges working with others. Again, I'm going to take us the example of that lady that talked about the challenges she had with her team members. You know, they don't listen to her just because she's very nice, but she realized that the other departments, our fellow, you know, team lead in the other department was very strict, and that her team members, you know, are so afraid of her. If he tells them to do anything, they do it almost immediately, you know. So you can see that she's actually having challenges with her team members. And I'm sure she's a very kind, I'm not saying the other lady isn't kind, but she's very kind. She has empathy, you know, she's very soft, right? And that's why they probably were taking advantage of her. So challenges would come. You can't have a perfect team members. It's not possible. There will always be, you know, an outlier there that will be like, no, why must everybody listen to Ellie? I mean, who is she? No way, you know. there, I mean, even if you don't, as a matter of fact, if you don't have that kind of person in your team, then you're not doing the right job. You should have someone that would actually have a face off to say, no, why should we do this? Why must you, that would also help you and challenge you to improve, right? So these are the key qualities that put out for effective leadership. Communication. We talked about communication like the second series of this soft skill um what's it called now, for this soft skill training. We talked about communication, right? And I told you about communication, the receiver and the sender, right? You should be able to convey clear communication, nothing ambiguous. Don't use um abbreviations. Don't Most times, when some people send mails or they communicate, they have it in their head and they just assume that, you know what, you should know what I'm saying. It's in my head, but I can't say it out, but you should understand. I've had to work with people that they speak and I know the conversation is not over, but they say it and they just assume that you should know what I'm thinking. And that's not good leadership. A leader should be able to speak clearly, communicate clearly, listen more. Remember, very attentive when you're listening, and should be able to, you know, talk less, just digest it, take a deep breath, have um um emotional intelligence when you're dealing with your team members, right? And again, you should also make sure that there's open dialogue. Don't make your office as a leader autocratic, such that people cannot come to you. People are afraid because they know that your word is final. You should have an open door policy, right? We talked about emotional intelligence last week, so I'm not going to dwell too yeah, I'm not going to dwell too much on that. Just for summary, is when you have empathy for your team members and you're also able to manage your own emotions. So things happen, or your team member maybe treats you badly or speaks to you badly or something, because the person started with a bad day. You should be able to understand what's going on and not just bust out and have a nasty experience with the team member, right? So decision making ability is another thing. Just like the example I made, you should be able to make a decision. If a project is going wrong, you should be able to say, you know what, I take responsibility. Let's do it this way. Even if you've gone so far, somebody's probably saying, oh, no, 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 Ijoma, we can't do it like that. We won't be able to meet up with the timeline. I said, don't worry. I'm the leader here. I'll take responsibility. If it fails, let it be on me. So that's the decision making ability. You should be able to be firm with your decision, make the right decision on the spot. There are times when you're at work as a leader and they call you and they ask you for something about your team or your department. You'll be able to speak at that moment, think through, because they expect you to be involved in the everyday activity of your department. Now, you should have integrity and accountability. I said that earlier. If you don't have integrity, I mean, why are you leading? I always tell people that, look, integrity is you doing the right thing when no one is looking at you. So, because assuming Foyin that is teaching us co-pilot is not around, and so we can decide to misbehave, or because um our boss is not around, our overall regional boss is not around, then the whole department becomes chaotic, right? So you should have integrity, you should have accountability as a leader. You should be transparent. Let people see you for who you are. Have an open door policy, right? Let people know that you have morals. If you say yes, I have your back, my team members, let them know that you have your back. There's some leaders that they'll say, look, I have your back. And when they get to management meeting, they say, Ellie, no, that girl, let's give her query. She's not doing well. Meanwhile, they come to you and they smile with you. I'm sure you see that a lot, right? Then there's adaptability. You should be able to adapt to, like, for instance, if we say tomorrow, you know what, everybody is submitting their projects by Monday. Monday, what's Monday's date? Monday, 16th. As a leader of that project team, You shouldn't say, what's going on? Textilers, this wasn't what you told us, and all of that. You should be able to adopt and say, guys, what can we do? Are we going to work overnight? Are we going to put in more effort? Where are we and all of that? You should be able to, adapt to whatever challenges comes to you as a team, and not say, oh, you see, I said it. If only Sam had started early, or if only Basil had done the job in good time, you probably won't be in this mess and all of that. No, you should be able to take up that responsibility and fly with it. And again, another quality is motivational skills, which of course, I'm very passionate about. You should be able to encourage your team members, give them that motivation that they need. I mean, don't I know they always say, for if you deliver, your boss will tend to give you more work. For every good work, they just give you more work. They just say, oh, that's the right person to do it. I'm sure some of you have experienced it. You probably do a job, maybe you're in a team, and because you always deliver, you do so well, your boss will just say, who can I call? Who is my go-to person? Who is my ride or die person? Oh, okay, it's Ijoma, can you do this work? I am wondering, but this is not my job. I mean, Cletus can do it. I'm like, if I give it to Cletus will take time. I need you to do this, but that's not how to handle it. You should be able to motivate others as well, to say, Cletus, I know you're busy. I know you're very detailed. You take your time. That's why sometimes, you deliver almost at the 99th hour when I'm almost having high blood pressure. But, I know you can do it better. Just try and, make sure that you prioritize some things, and make sure you deliver in good time. That alone would, motivate Cletus to say, no, I need to impress Ellie. She admired the way I work. She knows I've got eyes for details and all of that. But you see, some leaders just come and, like, even when you've worked so hard, they don't like, is that all you can do? Is that all you can deliver? We need to get this done. I don't know why you're working like this. You're too slow. That kind of a team member will be so discouraged and demoralized. So you should make sure that you, motivate your team members. So why is leadership important? Of course, leadership is important to help coordinate the team. I mentioned that earlier, to help solve the problem, to encourage people so that they can achieve that goal, either organizational goal or your project goal or even personal goal, right? And of course, you need someone to create that positive energy around you, so that when whatever you're doing, you know that I'm doing this to achieve a goal. There's someone that is encouraging me, right? Now, I talked about the leadership styles during the introduction a bit. So here, there's something called transformational leader. Transformational leader are great people. They're visionary. They're people that, when it comes to innovation, they're like, let's do it like this. Our co-founders, both of them, MJ and Foye, oh my God, I mean, they're amazing people. Innovations everywhere. Let's do this, let's do that, and everybody is in sync, because we know that we're doing this out of passion. We know we have a leader, or we know we have founders that understands the goal, founders that they're taking us to a positive direction, and we can follow them, right? So transformational leaders are great, is a great leadership style. I would encourage everyone to aspire to be a transformational leader. And there's something called servant leader, people that, what, I would take a bullet for my team members. There are some bosses like that. They'll be like, look, rather than sack this person, I'll leave. Rather than do this, I'll take the gun, I'll take the bullet and all of that. So those leaders are also there as well. Now we have autocratic leaders. The autocratic leaders are the ones that come in, right? Even when, there are times when you come in, there's some departments that when you come in, everyone is gisting, playing, having fun. But the moment your boss gets into the department, everywhere goes like a graveyard. And you're wondering, what the heck? And everybody's quiet. The gist ends there, as in you just start pretending that you're working, and everybody's, those are the kind of leaders that you don't even want around you, because it's all about them, right? And there's democratic one, the ones that will tell you, you know what? let's dialogue, let's talk about it. Even though at the end they might stab you at the back, but they will just give you that impression that I have your back, I'm your team member. So be very wary of democratic leaders. Sometimes some of them, even though they're giving you that opportunity to talk, but when they get to the management meeting, they say, oh, I actually, it's not going to be like, oh, we did it, like the servant leader. He's going to be like, oh, I actually came up with this idea and I, told the team member to do this, and they end up getting all the glory, right? Now, what are the qualities of a great leader? It has to be visionary, see bigger picture. We can do this. We can get to this. Textilers can have 1 million members at the end of 2025, and empathetic. They understand, they know what you're feeling. They understand the situation. Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't deliver on this. I woke up with a migraine yesterday and I just couldn't open my eyes and all of that. It's not like, so what? I mean, you could have taken medication, you could have done something, we have to deliver on this project and all of that. No, but as an empathetic leader, they are able to understand the situation, right? And they are able to say, you know what, we can have a workaround. I can handle that particular task for you while rest and get yourself together so that you can do other things. And there is the decisive, right, where they make information informed decision right there. They say, you know what, this is the way to go. Trust me, we're going in the right direction. And you also have the resilience one where they overcome obstacles no matter what. Like, we're going to get it. CNN award, Heroes of the Year. This is it. Textilers, we're going for it. This award, we're going for it. Best community for female. This is it. Textilers. They're just so determined and they're like always like, we're going for the best, go for the goal. That's it. Yeah. So, we're looking at the importance of effective leader. Why do we need an effective leadership style, or why should we be an effective leader? Right? Again, innovation. You see that, I talked about transformational leader having been an innovation, having innovation skills and expertise, right? And we've talked about innovation all through. It's not because this is a tech community, but even in the non-tech, it's the same thing applies, because if you don't if you are not innovative as a leader, you're not leading anybody anywhere. We're just going to be doing the same thing, and it will become so monotonous, and people will be bored. Before you know it, they're resigning. You see people, in companies where they're earning so much money that you think no one can ever resign from this organization. But because of the leader, the team lead that they have, they just said, look, you know what? I'd rather my peace of mind. I'd rather go to somewhere I can grow and earn less than to be in this kind of to be under this kind of leadership um um under this kind of leader, or under this kind of leadership environment, right? Again, another reason why it's important is because they enhance the performance of the leader. They can collaborate with other people. They can bring team members together and fix issues. I give you an instance. So, talking about this enhancing team performance, I used to have a boss, one of those companies I worked. If you go to that our boss then to say, oh, um, I want to report phone to you. Our boss had we had open door policy. Phone is always on her phone. She doesn't do her work. That. I said, oh, really? Right there, while you're in his office, he picks up the phone to say, oh, phone, can you see my office? And you're wondering what's going on. And next one's like, Ellie, yeah, you were saying something about phone. Can you repeat it? I even wondering, oh my God, what's going on? But what was he trying to do? I mean, initially we were like, what kind of man is this? I mean, just listen and try and fix things. But he's trying to ensure that, there's a good relationship with people. You don't even have to come to him to report. You can always say, fine, but you're not supposed to be checking on your social media right now. We have a lot of work to do as against going behind to report, right? And again, another reason why it's important is to build trust. Now, he's been able to, from that instance, he was able to build trust amongst us such that, we can um encourage each other, we can scold each other in the team, and and we can trust him that he would handle any situation well. Not like some leaders that you go and report and you say, guess what? Do you know Lara is doing this and that, and Lara doesn't come to work often and all of that. And when Lara is working virtually, she's actually going out shopping and partying and all of that. And some will say, okay, during appraisal, that's when they wait for you. They'll probably not even call Lara to find out what exactly is going on. Why were you at the store when you were supposed to be working? Why were you not showing your camera? I heard you went there, you just switched on to the meeting, and you were not available, physically at the meeting. And you can imagine that kind of impact on that team member. So again, finally here it says to encourage personal and professional growth. So even as a leader, you need to encourage yourself. You need to read books. You need to ensure that you attend seminars and all of that. And if you have that passion to do that, it will be easy for your team members, to want to do the same. I recall, I write a lot of, well, I kind of slow down now, but I gave my target at some points, that look, this year I'm going to write a minimum of 3 professional exams in a year. I think it was 3 or 4, I can't remember, and professional exams as in core professional exams that maybe the cheapest exam then was like exam alone minus training was like $1,000. I think the cheapest amongst all those exams. So for me, that was my goal. I needed to improve. I needed to upskill. I needed to learn other domains in tech, right? And I didn't even know my team members were watching me. Before you know it, they're like, Ellie, guess what? I just wrote ITIL, I passed. I was like, oh, really? The next one is coming. Oh, Ellie, guess what? I just wrote AWS this, I passed. This one is coming as well. I'm like, wow. Just because they can see that personal growth in me, they're like, if Ellie can do it, please let's follow suit. You can imagine if I was the kind of leader that comes to work and all I do is, oh, let's gist, what happened? How was the football? Mayu, Arsenal, and all of that. That's all that's a kind of team members that will breed. And leaders, good leaders breed leaders as well. So you can imagine breeding that kind of leader eventually. Now, so this is a lifestyle that leaders should adopt. First, the organizational goal. What is our organizational goal? You can't just create your own goal as a leader outside the organizational goal. Everything you do has to be within the organizational goal. So your departmental goal has to work together with the organizational goal, right? So for those of you that started your project should be, in line with the goal of the entire class that you are. So if you are in the security class, right, just know that whatever you're going to do with the other classes, right, the goal has to be what has been taught, what your mentor is expected of you from that particular class, right? So you can't do anything outside this. Like, oh no, I learned this is the way to do it, and this is how I want to do it. It has to be right. And the team skill level and experience has to be measured as a leader. You should be able to adapt and say, look, I know LA's strength. LA's strength is in maybe like cybersecurity, right? So I'm not you won't say, oh, you know what? Let her do a user experience. Let her design use any framework or any what's it called now? Trying to remember those. things I used to use for UX UI. Anyway, so to use any tool to design a user experience or a user interface. I'm sure, by the time the design comes out, I'll just mix colors together and you probably will be like, oh my God, why did I make this mistake? Right? So you should be able to identify which of your team members have a particular skill and how you can harness that skill, are the ones that need improvement, how you can help them, right? And you have to make sure that the work environment is conducive. Again, remember the example I gave. You don't want to come into your department and everybody's quiet. Nobody talks, nobody can even take a cup of coffee. Everybody is working under fear and tension, right? No, that's not a good leadership style. You should be able to come in and, they're probably having maybe burger or eating whatever it is they're eating, and you just go there and snatch it and like, no, you guys didn't get mine, I'm taking out of yours. I remember those days. I'm like, you know we just do thank God it's Friday, and everybody's like, so what happened to LA? He said, no, LA wanted to fast today. Or I'm like, just have that environment where they're happy and everyone can relate. But then again, you should also have the carrot and the stick approach so that they don't take advantage of that. Now, remember I talked about what kind of leader you'd follow. You should look inward to say, am I a kind person? If you're not a kind person, because you would also want to have a leader that is kind. So you have to look inward and you have to adjust and make sure you're kind. I mean, it's just sweet to be kind. You just, apart from, you helping other people and making them feel good. You feel good yourself being a kind person, right? Are you brave? Can you take the shot for your team? Can can you have their back? Can you take a bullet for them? You know what I mean? Can you say, you know what, my team members, I got you. I'm shielding you. No one can harass you. I'm sure some of you at work, right? You realize that some, especially in a projectized or a metrics workspace or metrics company, where you have projects, then you have the regular functional job that you do. And maybe there's a project now, and maybe for department, um someone now comes, maybe Lara is the PM, the project manager, now comes and says, fine, please, I need Ijoma. Are you and Foyi knows that Ijoma has to do, for instance, in the banking industry, Ijoma has to do end of day. She has to run end of day at the bank. She has tax to do at the bank. And Foyi says, you know what? No, sorry, you can't have Ijoma. You can have Samuel. I'm like, no, I want Ijoma and all of that. You should be able to put your feet down to say, no, this Ijoma is actually working on a tax that I can't take her out right now. But Samuel is equally as good as Ijoma, right? Don't be afraid to take that bullet for your team members. That's just basically, what this is talking about. So you have to be a leader that you can follow. Can you follow yourself as a leader? Now, what are the challenges that leaders face? Managing conflict. It can be so difficult and so emotional. You recall the example I gave where, my then boss, you go and report someone and immediately he calls the person and he sorts it out, and you can imagine how he didn't, then he didn't even care what the team members, the impression they had about him, as in, this man is so mean, why would you just do that? Why would you, especially for some of us that are not confrontational, like, why would you just call this person and just discuss this in front of this person, right? And you should be able to resist. You should have resistance to change. You find out that some leaders, when some companies, when they might say, you know what, Lara, we're going to have to take Oladipo out of your team. We're moving him to maybe a Kenya office, because we need someone to take over the Kenya office and all of that. At that moment, some leaders will say, you know what, it's not going to happen, or I quit, or, they can't even imagine, how am I going to cope? You're taking my best stand and all of that. So you have to have that resistance to change. And yeah, you have to have You have to be able to sustain how, your motivation with your team members. You have to be able to sustain their morale. There are some, I've had examples where there was a particular time, my, my um 2IC, my go-to person, my ride or die, was relocating to North America, and it was like part of my heart was crushed into pieces, because I was like, oh my God, this is a guy that, I know that this person has my back, and this person would do anything just to make sure that the department is going, and everybody felt it, the team members. But I was able to encourage everyone to say, you know what, we'll still keep in touch, we're like family, other people would come up and all of that, so you should be able to, you, help them grow, help them in any situation, right? Then again, remember I talked about the carrot and the stick. As much as you're like, oh, Ellie, but this will make them, be rude to you. If you give them all these allowances, or you allow them to do all of this to you, you should be able to also put your foot down to say, you know what? Yes, I have an open door policy. Yes, I love you guys. Yes, I, motivate you. Yes, I'm a servant leader. But when, I am professional as well. When there's a problem and is something against the value or the goals of the organization, I'll be quick to say recommend for dismissal, or recommend for suspension. So let them know you that, look, you take all the trash, but you also take all the respect, right? You understand what I mean? So you have to be firm as much as you're trying to also ensure that they're very comfortable with you, right? All right. So you probably say, oh, how can I develop all of this, LA? You need to prioritize continuous learning. You remember we talked about it. You know, make sure that you're growing yourself. They can see that a lot of people, watch what you do and they start doing it. You don't even have to speak sometimes. They just look at you and like, if this person is doing this, then I can do it. And you'll be surprised, like, how come? You notice that people always say, oh, after a couple of years, when you look at your parents, the picture when they got married, and the picture now, if they've spent like about 40 years or less, or 30 to 50 years together, you'll be wondering, how come you guys are all looking alike? Because they can, for some reason, I don't know how it is, nature, you just start becoming that person that you're in tune with, that is leading you, right? So that's the way it is. By the time you improve, you just realize that people under you are just improving as well. And it also, you build strong relationship, and you'll be able to communicate very well. So if you build that strong relationship, everybody can trust you. They know your yeah is yeah and your nay is nay, and you communicate effectively. Not that you communicate and expect them to understand the remaining part of the communication that is in your brain. Then you're developing a good leadership skills. Then you also need to make decision and be accountable. Yes, I stand by this. We're doing it this way, but management said this. Don't worry, I have my A's, to checkmate this. These are the things I'll put together. I will be accountable for it. If this fails, I will take responsibility. Then that's a good leadership skills, right? And you're able to view challenges as opportunities. Challenges come and like, wow, this is a lemon, what am I making out of it? Are you going to take it in and squeeze it as a lemon and mess up your face, or you're going to say, you know what, let's make a lemonade out of this? Someone left us, or five people left the department of seven and relocated same month. What are we going to do? Look at the positive part of it and try to manage the situation. And of course, in conclusion, I'll say leadership is not about influence, responsibility. Sorry, leadership is about influence, responsibility, and growth. And what do I mean? Let your life be a mirror to your team members. Let them see you and say, I want to be like this person. I want to follow this person's footstep. I want this person to mentor me, right? And be responsible as well. And anyone can actually develop this leadership skill. No one is born a leader. I know some people believe in that myth that, oh, some people are born leaders. I can't be a leader. That's a big myth. you can develop these leadership skills. Just start little, and before you know it, you're there. And make sure you have the right mindset. You're dedicated, you're determined, and you know the kind of leader you want to be. Of course, not a autocratic leader, obviously, but the kind of leader that you want to be. And of course, you need to lead with integrity. Let people know that, oh, Ellie is not here, but she said it. I'm sure, this is Ellie's words, and she's not going to go back to her words, right? And please always ensure that you inspire people. Let people look at you and say, you know what? Um, this is good. I want to follow this person. I want to do this as well, and always make a difference. Don't come into the environment or into the project and just cause chaos. Come into the project and let people even miss you when you leave, and know that, oh, part of you've taken part of them away with you, right? So having said that, I'd like to say thank you so much for listening, and let's have a question and answer session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Like as Ellie was talking, I was already seeing myself as a good leader. I was already seeing myself seeing some of the things that, oh, that I must have done wrong in the past, learning and unlearning. See, that's why it's very essential to attend most of these things, these sessions. They help you to become better. They help you to improve and become better version of yourself. Thank you very much, Ellie. Now we are more aware, we're better aware of these things. We'll be able to pay attention, know how to contribute, be a better team player, know when to stand in for our team members, know how to motivate them, aspire to perspire to, not that type anyway. Don't mind me. So it's time for questions and answers. Thank you very much, Ellie. That was a wonderful session. Learned a lot. So questions. Time to bring it in before we did.
All right. So I'm just saying thank you for the great
Yes, I'm here.
session. While people are putting their thoughts together for the questions, and I really like what you said about playing the role as a leader. It's not until you are a team leader, even as a team member, you can take responsibility, of your team. Your leader needs to do something, it's not being done. Don't wait. You can take up that responsibility upon yourself. And like somebody said, oh, how do I become a manager? I say manager it's not a title. It's Manager is a title, but you don't become a manager. Wherever you are a leader, and you can take up those responsibilities, and people can see already that you are a natural leader, and that's just how you naturally evolve into getting the title. So let's not chase the title. Let's demonstrate the responsibilities and the skills and everything that Ellie has spoken about today. And then the title will follow naturally after it. Let's be accountable. Let's be accountable. It was a very, 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 very good session. I love the servant leader.
Thank you.
Yeah. Blessing, back to you.
All right. Thank you very much for the vision. Oh, okay. Chukwemeka said the session helped him a lot. That's early for you. So I'm happy that every Saturday this skill, a lot of you attend it. That shows that you've been getting value and you actually don't want this to stop. So Ellie, that's like a message to you. They don't want your session to stop at all because is always joining and on time. People really come late.
Don't worry, the toasting is part of the value add. It is great. It's translating to money. It is certainly translating to money.
Okay, like taking bullets for them and being a motivational leader. Yes, that's amazing. Okay, so we have a question from Ellie. From Lara. She said, "What strategies can we adopt to manage the boss or team lead?"
All right. Thank you very
Ellie, over
much,
to
Lara,
you.
for that. Thank you. Thank you very much, Lara, for that question. So it depends on who the boss is or the team lead. Is it a toxic boss, a problematic boss? If it's a problematic boss, you have to learn to manage your boss. Excuse me. Excuse me. No matter what, you have to learn to manage your boss. Your boss is always right. For that person to have been chosen to be the leader, that means the management has seen some traits in that person that is what being a leader, even though you might think this person doesn't even know one tenth of what I know. That's cases where you find out that you even know more than your leader, right? But you have to swallow your pride at that moment and just learn from the leader, because there's always something to learn from everyone. Learn from the leader. But when it gets to the stage that you can't take it anymore, please start seeking for another job. Just like I said, some people leave environment well paid because the environment is toxic. They just want their mental health to be in check, rather than work with someone that they can't even deal with, right? So those are the two ways you can deal with it. Is that you look at the positivity, turn it into a lemonade, and see, how you can list out what you do, for instance, is to list out the good things and the bad things about the leader. So areas where you have more good things, right? Embrace it. And the bad things that you can't deal with in the leader, try as much as possible to look at it from your own angle. Is there something I need to do better? Is there something I'm not doing well? But if you put the list together, you realize that, and you have to be unbiased when you're doing that, and you realize that the bad aspects are more than the good aspect, I'll advise, for your mental health, please take a walk. Try and look for another job. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you very much. I hope it
Um,
did. So we have okay, everyone is singing your praises that you're an amazing teacher. Thank you. Okay. Oh, it's more of praises than maybe we'll have a board where we'll write comments about things we learned from LA at the end of this cohort. Maybe I think that's what we should do. Maybe we'll design it to start getting it in, because she needs to. It's good to give LA her flowers now that she's here with us. She really deserves it. She's doing a whole lot. So it's more of the thank you, thank you, thank you. So communication is a very important skill. Your sessions are impactful. Thank you. Thank you.
And I hope that you'll be a positive leader going forward. Thank you so much. And I really enjoyed the class today. Looking forward to seeing you next week. God bless you all.